What's up, fellas? Welcome to another mobile game showcase. Today, I am going to ask you, have you ever tried Choice of Dragon? Or any of the other Choice of the games? Now this game and the several other games like it are interactive story games. Now, if you've ever remember back to your youth, those really cool interactive storybooks, it's exactly that, only with some slight differences. If you haven't read those books or experienced those books, it's those choose your own adventure books. It's pretty neat. Basically what they were is, it was a story. You read through the story. At the end of the page, it will give you a choice. Like go down the left path, or go through the door, or climb up the rope. If you could choose the left path, it would say turn to page 36. If it said go through the door, it would say turn to page 16. Climb up the rope, turn to page 38. And then you would flip to that page, and then you would read out the consequences or alternate events or the result of your choice. Some cases it would be like, oh, you found another path. Choose to make a choice. All right, well, now I'm going to go through this door, or I'm going to go through this door. Or you find a potion. Do you drink it? Yes or no? Turn to this page or turn to this page. But sometimes, a lot of times, those choose adventure books, if you make the wrong decision, you get punished, which usually results in you dying. Like, oh, you go through the door. Hey, there's a monster in the door. He eats you. Game over. Or you climb up the rope. The rope snaps. You fall and break your neck. The end. You're dead. Or they weren't always death choices, or your adventure ends. Sometimes it would just branch the story off into an entirely different direction. Like, now you're exploring the forest, or now you're exploring the castle. And you would just constantly flip around the book to different pages until eventually you win the game, whatever that may be in relation to the story. Like, you found the treasure, you win. Or you escaped from the haunted house, you win. No, that other jazz. You could also, what was it? Yeah, that's basically it. You choose your own adventure, and that's what this is. It's a choose your own adventure game. I say game. It's more like those books. The gaming part comes in where you have stats, and when you make a choice, you have to stick with the choice, because if you are a fan of choose your own adventure books, and and you probably have, that those were easily cheatable. What I mean by cheatable is, if you flip to page 16 and there's a monster that eats you and you die, you're supposed to start back from the beginning of the adventure. But with those books, there's nothing stopping you from just flipping back to your previous choice and choosing a different path. You can cheat so hardcore. In this game, you can't cheat. Unless you reach a checkpoint, when you die or get game over, you have to start all the way back from the beginning. So that's pretty cool. It makes you stick with your choices. The other cool thing is, these games, especially this one, has stats. Like brutality, finesse, cunning, honor, disdain, vigilance, infamy, how much wealth you have, how many wounds you have. And these stats, which is cool, affects your choices. Basically, the choices you make will alter your stats. And some choices will not all. Just because you choose a choice doesn't mean it's going to work. Because a lot of choices roll your make stat checks. Like if you try to make a choice that involves you lifting something heavy or something that involves strength, and you don't have any strength, you will fail that choice even though you choose it. Another example would be, let's say I try to dodge an attack. Even though I choose that attack, it's not going to work if I have no agility. You can't not so what's cool is the stats will affect your choices. So that's another cool thing to keep in mind. And yeah, this one in particular, choice of dragon. Let me scroll back up. What this is, it's an interactive choose your own adventure story where you play as a dragon, and your choices would determine what kind of dragon you are. How do humans and other creatures, do they fear you? Do they worship you? Do they hate you? Do they try to kill you? Are you a dragon who tries to collect gold? Whatever. And it's all determined through your choices. And the story weaves and bobs and alters depending on your choices. You know, you're going to come across more stories involving you fighting people if you choose fighting things and other stuff. And the human's reactions will change depending on what kind of dragon you are and whatnot. It's pretty neat. It's a short story, so it doesn't take long to get through it, and it's free, so feel free to check it out. It's on Google Play. I don't think it's on iPhone because they're more strict with these kind of games, but it's completely free. It's by Dan Fabulich and Adam Strong-Morse, and you play as a dragon. How many games do you get to play as a dragon in choose your own adventure style? Which is cool. So you choose how to play. It doesn't. Again, it's short. It doesn't take long to get through it, but there's multiple ways to get through it. And depending on what kind of dragon you want and other stuff like that. So you can get many playthroughs out of it, and it's free, so why not? There is no music, so it's a nice game to play with, like something music in the background of your choice, whatever. But yeah, so it's a cool story about you being a dragon, and your choices determine the direction of the story. Now, some aspects of the story are still the same, but the journey, if you will, is slightly different based off your choices. It's pretty neat. So let me get into it. Now, fair warning, there's going to be a lot of reading. So if you're not into these kind of stuff, or if you're not into story or reading or my voice, then feel free to just end the video. If not, let's begin. Let us begin. A knight charges up the slope at you. His horse pounds at the ground, carrying the heavily armored warrior as if it were a child's doll. The knight sets his lance to attack you. How do you defend yourself, O mighty dragon? Do I take to the air? Do I take to the air with a quick beat of my wings? Or do I knock the knight from his horse with a slap with my tail? Do I rush into his charge and tear him to pieces with my claws? Or do I simply, with a puff of my fiery breath, should be enough for him? How do I want to take care of him? You know, I feel like a fire-breathing dragon is in order. And now, because I chose it, something changes. And these choices subtly, sneakily affect your stats. Like if you choose a lot of strength stats, it's going to give you strength. But it's also going to neglect your other stats. So just keep in mind, be mindful of your choices. Don't go for dodge choices if you haven't chosen any dodge attacks again. And you can always keep track of your stats by clicking on stats. Let's click on that. See, I chose fire, so my disdain went up to 55. So more impulsive and attention, vigilant. Okay. You let loose an inferno of fire. The night's horse is cooked nicely, and your stomach lets out a deafening rumble as the smell of toast dysteria reaches your nostrils. The knight himself staggers to his feet. His armor manages to keep him alive, but only buried. Do you finish him off, victorious dragon? Of course. How dare he attack me? I'll let him live to warn others of my immense power. Now that the threat is ended, he is beneath my concern. What kind of dragon? Well, do I warn others? Or do I eat them? You know, that night was kind of a jerk for his attack me, so you know what? How dare he attack me? Your jaws crush him in a single bite. That showed him. You know, it's gonna get annoying to keep calling you great and mighty dragon. What is your name? Is it Gothalan or Sisylis? Calmir? These names are terrible. I choose my own name. I shall do that. And oh, please forgive me. What name would you prefer? You may call me. How about? I don't know. What can you call me? How about? Nah. Nah. You know, just call me. Ugh. Okay, you know, maybe those names were good. Alright. Call me Dragon the Glorious. You know, just call me Puyo. Will you be male or female? Male? Female? Neither? Unknown? Undetermined? Do not pester me with impudent questions. Yeah. I mean, yes, of course. How churlish of me. The heck does that mean? But, oh mighty Puyo, I feel I should let you know that this game is full of choices. Indeed, it is nothing but multiple choice questions that determine the course of your adventure as a dragon. If you don't enjoy interesting questions, this game may not be for you. If I may, would you like to specify your gender at all? I said no. Well, let's just leave it undetermined then. As you think about it, the knight's attack was probably inevitable. After all, you did just kidnap the princess from right out of a tower. Although, isn't it a little sexist to always kidnap princesses? Maybe, but tradition demands that dragon kidnap princesses, even if it's sexist. You dare question my actions? You know, I never thought about that before. In fact, I think I kidnapped a prince, just to avoid being sexist. I'll have you know that make a careful point of alternating between princess and princes, but it happened to be time for a princess. Well, you know, we're just gonna have to. You know what? Once again, I dare. Don't question me. No, of course not. I just wanted to. What I'm trying to say is, let's move on. Anyway, you ripped the roof off her tower. The light glistened off your. Would you like to specify the color of your hide? I wasn't sure which color to put in the description. You know what? Can we just get to the scrap smashing? Yes, of course. Your wish is my command. On with the show. What are you planning on doing with the princess anyways? It's all about companionship and good conversation. I'll keep her around for a little while to lure in more knights, but then she's dead. It's still a known fact that princesses taste better than most humans. It's all about ransom payments. Those are a quick and easy way to build a hoard. I do like gold. Indeed, within a month a large chest of gold comes to pay for the prince's release. What do you do then? All the demands I carry out on my end of the bargain. Once I have the payment, I have no reason to delay my dinner. crunch, munch, delicious. This would be a good time to talk about a little more about your personality. All dragons can be described in terms of a handful of characteristics, each in opposed pairs: brutality and finesse, cunning and honor, disdain and vigilance. Are you more notable for your brutality or your finesse? Brutality, strength and cruelty. Or finesse, precision and aerial maneuverability. Well, we're just gonna have to be brutal, though, aren't we? Do you have more cunning or honor? Let's go with cunning. Do you disdain threats and insults that are beneath you, or are you vigilant against any slight or transgression? I don't even want them to look at me. Funny. Now we're going to view some flashbacks to your days as a young wormling. As a young hatchling, you lived with your mother in a cave high up on a mountain. Your mother had a vast hoard of treasure and a variety of hunting range. Some of your siblings chose to spend much of their time reading the rare codices and scrolls your mother had collected. Other siblings spent their time hunting dangerous game and brawling with each other. Which pursuit did you prefer? Reading is for humans. You developed your muscles as you gloried in combat and the kill at the end of the hunt. Your brawls with siblings also taught you the basics of honor. Brutality and honor increased. As you reached maturity, you began to threaten your mother's dominance over her territory. Before you could possibly have bested her in direct confrontation, she threw you out of her lair and drove you from the lands in which you grew up, leaving you to fend for yourself without any resources beyond your claws, wings, or teeth. Did you seek revenge on her by turning some of the humans in her lands against her, or did you consider petty revenge beneath you? Well, you know how I feel about revenge. You were unable to truly threaten her, but you forced your mother to spend her time suppressing the revolts of human villagers. The dead villagers also provided her with no tribute, reducing the increase of her horde. Perhaps something more direct would be better as a revenge. Still, a real gain nonetheless. Cunning and vigilant has been increased. After several days of flight, you come across a teeny halfling traveling through the desert. Even from afar, your keen eyes detected a glint of gold and the spark of magic. This halfling has some sort of magical golden shield strapped to his teeny back. You knew immediately that this treasure must be yours. The halfling was far from civilization. It would almost surely die soon of thirst and starvation. For the moment, he seemed to be protected by the power of the shield. Did you kill him on the spot, ignoring his magical protections? Or did you hover nearby and wait for the halfling to die, knowing that you might lose the treasure? I enjoy watching things die, so I waited for him to die. There's no reason you have to do all the dirty work yourself. A few hours later, the halfling stumbled and crawled for a while and finally stopped. You easily plucked the treasure off his body, saving yourself quite a bit of work. The disdain and finesse has increased. One of your elder clutch mates was an overbearing brute named Axelmulis. Axelmulis loved to torment the others, always seeking to seize what did not belong to him. Puyo, he said with a menacing grin, give me the golden shield, or I beat you within an inch of your life. I gave him the shield to avoid a fight. I dueled him for the shield. I evaded him and hid the shield. I bowed before no dragon. Brutality and honor increased. You fought your hardest, but Axelmulis was a bit stronger than you. He pinned you to the ground and pried the shield out of your claws. Then he crushed the shield in his jaws, wasting the magical energies imbued within, and he spit it out at your feet. He laughed with a great roar as he flew away. Even dragons have bullies. That jerk. You have the following stats: 78% brutality versus 22% finesse, 65% cunning versus 35% honor, 31% disdain versus 69% finesse. Infamy is 55, and wealth is 6,050 gold. And yeah, as you see through those story choices, my stats have been changed. Now, because my brutality is at 78%, that means I can bully more things. I can do more strength tests. You know, it's kind of like D&D where you make a strength roll or a dexterity roll. And cunning means I'm pretty smart and I use cunning to solve problems. Vigilance means I'm pretty vigilant. And and so as the story moves on, your choices, the end game and the some of the major story aspects remain the same. What changes is the flavor and how you go about those choices, and it changes the story. It's pretty neat. You spend several weeks winging your way across the land. Life as a traveling dragon has much to recommend. The freedom of air, the thrill of the hunt, plentiful sightseeing opportunities. On one particular night, sleeping peacefully under the stars, you awake to find yourself under attack. A gigantic elder dragon towers before you, whipping your heart with its tail. It must be at least 4 times your size. Well, how dare you sleep on my lands? Do I apologize? Do I act tough? Do I plead ignorance? Do I fight back? Or do I play nice? Well, if I fight back, he's probably going to kill me. If I plead ignorance, he's probably going to kill me. If I act tough, he's probably going to kill me. If I apologize, he's probably going to kick my butt. If I play nice, do I apologize or do I act tough? Well, I'm cunning, so I would like to fight back, but I'm pretty sure he might kill me. But you know what? Let's fight back. The elder dragon treats you with inevitable disdain. It soundly beats you out of its territory. Find your own lair, it chortles. Despite the advantages, it seems that homelessness has seen rather severe downsides. After all, you have nowhere to store your treasure. Few days later, as you fly along, you see a large hill rising up from the land around it. Forests cover the lower slopes of the hill, giving way to grassy fields, and then a rocky crag at the top of the hill. A large cave mouth opens in the promontory. While you would have to check it out more carefully to be certain, you believe that the hill contains a fairly extensive cave complex. Plenty of game run through the forest, with herds of sheep and even cattle in some of the valleys, a short flight away. Looking beyond the immediate environs, several human villages and towns are well within a day's flight, offering the promise of easy pillaging to come. But none are close enough to make harassment and annoyance likely. In short, it appears to be a perfect lair. As you fly down to claim your new lair, you spot a group of small, mostly bald, orange-skinned humanoids outside the cave. They look and point at you in terror and alarm. Some of them flee into the cave, while others bravely shake crude, ineffectual spears at you. "Don't eat me, Jabbles," one of the goblins. "Eat Crubbish, he's got meat on him." The goblin who spoke pushes forward one of the other goblins with the butt of his spear. The other goblin, presumably Garbage, drops his spear as he shakes in front of you. How cute. What do you do? Do I scare them off or slaughter them all? Well, I've heard goblins make excellent minions, but I feel like slaughtering them all is in good order. You pounce on them as they flee into the cave. You totally devastate them. By the time they realize they have no prayer of victory, only 2 of the attackers are left alive. They flee, and you enjoy a leisurely afternoon hunt. Roast goblin makes a pleasant change from your diet of mutton. You return to your new lair, confident that you have taught them a lesson. Well, perhaps not them personally, but certainly the other goblins. Brutality and vigilance has increased. The cave complex within the hill is everything you hope for. It's defensible, spacious enough for a good horde, and full of those greasy little goblins who quickly acknowledge you as their eternal sovereign and overlord. They give you the best of their treasure and the finest of their foods. Well, almost the finest. They burn the very best of the foods on a crude altar to their primitive goblin god. How do you react to that? It is good for them to serve a god as best they can. As long as they're loyal to me, I don't care if they worship a unicorn covered with polka dots. I should be the focus of all their attention, not some stupid god. So, there you go. I'm not going to keep reading because even though it's a short story, it still takes well, let's see. First time, if you read every word, probably 30 to 50 minutes. If you just skip through the choices, it would take you like 5 minutes if you just keep tapping through them, unless you're a fast reader. But yeah, that's Choice of Dragon. I recommend you, if you love Choose Your Own Adventure books, I highly recommend it. You will love it. It's free. There's no reason not to try it. You can, if you want to support these guys, you can pay like $1.99 to unlock the full edition, which removes the ads from the game. There's like ads at the bottom of the screen. You can't see it. Let me crop it. See, there's some ads. They're not intrusive at all, so you can totally play this for free if you want. And unlocking the full game doesn't really benefit you. You don't get anything. Hopefully these guys add to the story or come up with a part 2 expansion. Some of these choice of games have written new chapters and other stuff, so it extends the story and is really neat. This one is just all one shot. They haven't written any new stories for this, but hopefully they do. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's pretty neat. If you aren't that big of a fan of stories or reading, then you're not gonna like it at all. But I urge you to try it, especially if you've never tried an adventure book. It's pretty neat. I like it, and because it's in a game format, it forces you to stick with your choices, because you can't go backwards once you make a choice, which is pretty neat. And you play as a dragon. You can eat people, you can protect them, you can get money, then eat people, and it's pretty neat. And with that, I've been Try Jojo. It's a longer episode, but it's a more reading episode. Well, see you next time for another mobile game showcase. Later.